You're a little quiet, but I don't know if that might be my volume.
I'm using my earbuds.
Oh, there you
A little quiet or too quiet?
go. Oh, now you're good.
Okay, I just turned up the volume on my. Thought this was volume for listening. I didn't know it was volume for both microphone or input and output.
Hmm.
How was your week?
Bleh.
Uh-oh,
It's all right. Uh,
could
just
be
kind
better.
of, yeah. Um, I don't know. Starting to wonder if I should just. I still think I'm still on this kind of line where I don't know what I want to do, but I know I don't want to do what I'm doing right now. And I'm still just thinking, maybe just ending and then finding something after would be the best route, because then there'll be like a kind of more fire to do it, more time to actually do some exploration. I don't know. I'm even just contemplating, what if I just totally try something different, like, I don't know, accounting or marketing or real estate, or I don't know.
Are you having a midlife epiphany?
Uh, I don't know at what point you call it midlife versus quarter life, but maybe it's third life. A crisis. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, maybe. I don't know. I listened to this Art of Manliness podcast about kind of when you enter midlife and why this happens to people. And the basic gist of it is that, most of your first 25 to 30 years of life are kind of scripted. You when you go to school, and then you go to college, and then you build up a bunch of debt, and then you work in a normal job for until that debt's paid off, and then you get, potentially get a wife or a spouse and kids. And then once you get all of that stuff done and you have a house and all of this, then you look around and go, what now? Because that's the end of the script.
Well, you realize, oh crap, I am stuck.
Yep.
And this is what I'm responsible for. And
Yeah.
if I walk away from it, my life is going to be even more effed up, at least probably for the next 24 months, based on society's terms.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then do I voluntarily ostracize myself from my community or my tribe? And now that I have soaked up the game of life, or have at least a better understanding of it, uh, 30, 40, 50 years later, um, now that I have a better understanding or a better model of what I've done, where I'm at, and how I can navigate from here, people are not going to be happy. But at the same time, like what matters most, me being judged and me being alone for the rest of my life because of my quote unquote selfish actions of me, and trying to preserve my mental health at the same time, or uh, being a pawn in the system, knowing that I'm my life isn't really going to be living for me. I'm just going to be like Al Bundy and just go through the whatever the terminology is until finally I'm in a nursing home, if I'm even that lucky to afford one. That's the way I interpret things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you figure it. It's like, so I'm 35 now, so and I think the retirement age for is now like supposed to be 70 or something like that. So another 35 years of doing what I've done for the last 10 years. Like, I don't really know about that. The funny thing is like, I like coding when I'm hit with a really hard challenge, or if there's something where I can, you know, there's a puzzle to be solved or something that where people are like, oh, really, you know, um, it's a really difficult thing to, you know, figure out, or it can't be done. Those kinds of things really, you know, I dig it. Or if I'm given, you know, a lot of rain to redesign, um, and the autonomy to build something out. But so I like software development in that realm. But where I'm at right now is just like one-off little things that take a few minutes to do, and I'm just so bored out of my mind. just just falling over, and I'm not delivering value in a way that I feel like I'm worth it. So I don't know.
I
There's that
feel.
on top of the fact that I'm not feeling it. So,
Oh,
but every time I look at the job boards, I look at everything. Everything just looks the same. Like I'm just like, wait, looking at it, going, this is going to be the exact same story in, you know, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever, however long it takes. Um,
I mean, if you're working as an employee
yeah,
for a company and you're accomplishing someone else's dreams at the expense of them renting your time, then yeah, it's going to be the same pattern. I would say 99% of the time. So
yeah.
yeah, you should
Speaking of
take
which,
your troubleshooting skills, and you should maybe go to a vocational, I don't know, school or whatever, and learn how to be a interrogator, and then you could work homicides in you're in, yeah, Minnesota, right?
so yeah,
Almost said Kansas.
I don't know that being a cop right now is the best kind of thing to be. So,
Oh no, you're not working the streets. You're the dude that you watch the first 48, right?
oh, you mean be a detective? I think you have to go through the ranks to be a detective, don't you?
Uh, do you? You can't just get some training,
I thought it
formal
was a
training, and then
promoted type thing.
interrogate people, waterboard them, like
Oh, I see. Like
yeah.
CIA stuff. I don't think I could get into that.
No,
No, no, I think you need top secret clearance, and I doubt I would be able to get one.
you don't have any felonies, do you?
No, no felonies. But so I wonder with, um, I don't know what the take is on if you've had like depression before. So here's something I don't tell a lot of people. When I
Disclaimer: do you really want to air this live?
yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
So I don't tell a lot of people because it's really one of these, like, there's a stigma about it, and I think that stigma is trying to change. But so when I left high school, I actually joined the Air Force, um, and I made it through basic training. Then a month after basic training, I was in, can't remember what they call the next step. It was training, another round of training, but my training didn't start right away. So there was like a month of just sitting there, doing something. And that time I got like deeply depressed to the point that I went to, like, I was in the kind of hospital,
Oh,
and
that's serious.
yeah. And, not, I didn't actually try anything, but, just some of I guess some of what I was expressing, they pushed me there or whatever. And so then I got a medical release or whatever. So, but I don't know if that kind of a thing, you know, prohibits you from, you know, from having like a top secret clearance or whatever. So,
Um, for top secret, I'm sure it more than likely hits their radar.
yeah, because they look at pretty much everything. So I know there was a guy that was, when I was in there, who was supposed to be, I don't remember what he was going for, but it needed a top secret clearance, and he had like a Dewey or something. and that was enough to disqualify him. So
What's a Dewey?
like a DUI.
Oh, okay.
And so he had to find a different career. And I think he ended up, it was interesting. There were people that were sitting in the training place for like, they had been there for two years and they still hadn't got what they were going to do and been placed in something. So they were like, oh, this is the old guy who lives at the training, which was at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, which is also where the basic training one is, but it was in a different section. And he was supposed to do something probably airborne, because you train for, at least at the time, you trained for airborne things there. I was supposed to be in airborne battle management, so like being like an AWAC or whatever, but obviously that never happened.
So that's pretty strong to be hospitalized for depression.
Yeah.
It makes you respect mental health a lot more. It's what's interesting is almost everybody gets sick. You know, they have a cold, they have a flu. Hell, some people have STDs, right? I'm not included in that category. But it's common for people to get sick or to fall ill. But I think that it's both a blessing and a curse for people not to have suffered like mental trauma in regards to like mental illness period.
Yeah.
Whether it's a compulsive disorder or some I'm not sure if addiction can really be categorized as a mental illness. I guess if you develop a dependency, I'm not sure about that. But even PTSD and like when you become a victim of consistently reliving those thoughts in your head and your brain will not let it rest and you just become a prisoner of your own mind. Like I think if everybody experienced mental illness as much as they experienced physical illness, I could only wonder what type of treatments would be available and what type of opportunities would still be available for people that are experienced firsthand with coping more than prescribing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't, like I said, I don't talk about it very much because I'm very much in the boat of like constantly questioning whether it was real on my side. Like I don't recall being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be depressed or anything like that just to get out of this, because I didn't necessarily want out of it, but I just was not feeling, it or whatever. And so yeah, I don't know. I just have like these vague memories of the whole thing, and I just question it a lot. And then I'm kind of like, what did I do or whatever. So, because it's hard to know, like, was I just having a bad day, or I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think most people would agree that depression is it's a feeling of hopelessness when you acknowledge that you're not in control of your future. It in regards to it being favorable.
Yeah.
At least I agree with that notion or that definition.
Yeah.
It's hard to when you're in a downward spiral. It feels hopeless because it's like you know that you're not supposed to dwell on those thoughts, but you're trying to recover. So like recover from what? Those thoughts. And it's just hard. So
Yeah.
and you just it's cyclical for lack of a better term. So cyclical, whatever the term is.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. Since then, I've everything like has felt very managed, and I've had ups and downs and everything until I think it was last year. Like I went in the spring. Just actually went into the doctor and was like, look, this is getting out of hand, kind of a thing. So then, like last summer, I was on Wellbutrin or something like that, and then I felt great probably in September for the first time ever, and then I jumped off of it, and it's been up and down since. But but yeah, something I don't really talk about much because I just like I feel kind of embarrassed like about it, and specifically like like I just constantly question whether it was really depression back then, and if I just like gave up on or something. I don't know.
Well, were you on any prescriptions at the time? Were you putting anything in your body that may have accelerated your mental thoughts or contributed to your mental thoughts or your bad thoughts?
No, not then. But no, definitely not. I mean, you don't. I guess in the Air Force they don't really let you have substances or anything.
No, no, I'm talking about like
this last year
from a doctor, just period.
Oh no. Yeah, the few prescriptions I've ever been on in my life, I've decided that I'm going to try to avoid them at all costs now for sure. But back then, no, I wasn't. So
yeah, I don't know. I was going through an issue, and it was bad, and it's I don't know. I tried to. What I didn't want to do is I didn't want to take medication because I felt that it would only like create a different set of problems for me, and so I don't know. I just started YouTubing exercise and mental health, and I was like, yo, before I start taking whatever medication that these doctors want me to take, and me being impotent or having other like side effects that I don't want, or maybe even an addiction that I don't want. Like, let me just try to do cardio every day. Let me try to work out every day, and let my body produce the chemistry that will feed my brain, and see if that's a alternative. And I started doing that, and I just started like pretty much doing it hard, relying on physical fitness as a instead of as an alternative to like Western medicine. And I mean, I got through it for the most part. Knock on wood. I mean, that's something I would recommend. Is like, do you run, or have you ever ran?
yeah. I don't run right now, but I have run in the past. So.
Have you ever caught the runner's high?
Yeah. I think it was probably about 4 years ago. I was running pretty regularly in the summertime, and I did my first 5K and all that kind of stuff, and it was definitely a feeling good.
So when I was struggling, that was the objective that I would try to hit, so that instead of relying on prescriptions, medicines to treat like depression or other mental issues, I would like uh, go running, and I would try to target like, you know, 3 miles or 4 miles or whatever, with emphasis on target, whatever I could do to achieve runner's high. And that just releases, I don't know if they're called endorphins or dopamines or whatever that stuff is. If you're able to achieve it through strenuous activity, it's natural, and it just doesn't have side effects, right? Your penis will still work, like, so that's what I used to try to focus on.
Yeah. I think the stuff that I was on, this Wellbutrin, that doesn't have the impotence side effects at all, or the weight gaining ones. It's more of a, I don't remember what they call it, but it does it, the hormone stuff, differently than I don't remember what the other kind is, but there's actually potential to like lose weight and stuff on it. But the big side effect I had actually was my jaw just tightened up, and my teeth were grinding during it for the first few weeks. It was weird.
You were having seizures?
No, my mouth was just getting really like tensed up, and I'd wake up and my jaw would hurt. And I think I was chewing or I think I was grinding my teeth all night.
It was TMJ, I think. I don't know what TMJ stands for.
Yeah, I don't know. But after that went away, then after, a few months or whatever, I remember going into work one day and just walking in and looking around and just like having this dumbass smile on my face for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So it was working. I was definitely like, actually, that was probably about the time that I was getting back into, when I was talking to you about making the table. I was on that stuff, like I wanted to do all sorts of things again, and was just really happy, excited. But I don't know, something about, I don't want to be on, like you said, I don't really want to be on a drug forever. I don't want to be dependent on it. I don't want to whatever. So as soon as I could get off it, and plus you weren't supposed to have any drinks on it either, so which probably wouldn't help. But I really like beer.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I got drunk. It's been a while. And always have conversations on what's the definition of being drunk.
Oh yeah.
But to me, my definition is completely different. Like, to me, like drunk is when like is when like you just see streaks of light. Like you can't focus on anything. That's like drunk. To me, everything else is inebriated.
Oh, I see. I'm just shutting my door.
I'm trying to figure out where something is. Anyways, I was struggling to make time for this app. I'm trying to find something, and I have no clue where it's at. I thought it was a behavior, like some validation behavior thingy, but did it validate? I've been looking for this thing for like the past 5 minutes, and I can't find. I wrote this code like a year ago, and I can't figure out where it's at. Basically, when you enter in credit card information, it validates the fields for like completeness or correctness. So your name, your number, your credit card number, etc. And I don't know where it's at in here, man, at all. Oh, here's a behaviors folder. I'm sure my screen, right?
Yeah.
Card number validation. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is it. All right, so I could add some stuff in here because I have I'll figure it out later.
So are behaviors an actual built-in thing for WPF or XAML or whatever, or whatever you're using here? Okay,
it's behaviors is more of an advanced technique that I rarely use, usually for like validation, where I feel like it's kind of like a an interface or an abstract class, and you're responsible for filling in the implementation. And then through the framework, it'll just trigger this behavior when a control is being operated on.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen that one. So, but it makes sense. Is that a Xamarin specific thing, or is it also
it's a XAML specific thing?
Okay. All right. So it's all right.
Cool. What do I put it? What do is validated. Yeah. So actually, hold on. What's this over here? Yeah. This is what I want to do. I want to take this and apply it towards card number. Yeah, I'll mess with this stuff later. Oh, so yeah, this week I struggled to make time to get anything done on here. I'm able to persist. Basically, when they order something and they don't have any card, bank, or payment method registered, then I display a add payment method page, and then they fill out that page, and then they hit save, and then they can transition on to checking out or actually committing to that order request. So I mean, that's all I pretty much got done. Outside of that, Don Sign reached out to me, and so I'm part of a 5-member committee for F Sharp Exchange conference that I think is supposed to be like mid or late October. So I had a kickoff meeting yesterday with that.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll stamp that on my resume.
Virtual or?
Yeah, it's virtual. I'm curious how that's going to be successful because it's paid virtual. And I'm curious, like, who pays for a virtual conference? Like,
Yeah.
The couple times that I went to a conference, like, I paid out my own pocket, and it's because I wanted to meet specific people and I wanted to network, and I wanted to put myself out there to people that are involved in the space that I would like to work in, right? And so virtual, like, how do you really network? How do you really meet people?
Yeah.
So
There's not a lot.
I'm curious how they're going to be successful with that.
Yeah, the networking, and then or the ones that want to go to it for the party, the parties that are usually associated with that. There's definitely no chance for it. Dave Rail did a virtual conference. Was it 2 years ago now? It didn't turn out too well for him. He tried to do some advertising and stuff, but I don't think it picked up well. He had some really good speakers, but I think he was basing it on one of these guys who has like a test automation conference that he does.
Yeah.
And that guy was making bank on them. So
yeah, I gave, his name was Joe Catalone, Colatonio, something like that.
Yeah.
I accidentally pissed him off, so he doesn't talk to me anymore. But I did property-based testing for it. Yeah.
Why do you piss everyone off?
I didn't do it on purpose. So like he charges for his online conferences for like test automation.
Yep.
I was doing property-based testing, and I did my talk, and at the end of it was like question and answer, and I don't know, someone asked a question about something, and my response towards the end was like, you know, I just feel very, passionate about this being the future in regards to uh, reducing errors, and like, again, this is passion. It's not like I'm being paid for it to give this talk. And the thing is he was charging people for this virtual conference. And when I said that I'm not getting paid to give the talk, I think he probably interpreted it as me blasting him, because like no one gets paid.
Yeah.
None of the speaker that I'm aware of gets paid for the virtual conferences that he was launching. But he was charging, and obviously, like, I might take maybe, let's say, 16 hours to prepare, rehearse, and talk. But I'm sure he has way more responsibilities of creating the platform for speakers, the both the website, the marketing, all that stuff. So I wasn't bashing him. When I said that, it was crickets right afterwards, and then like he just stopped talking to me, and he didn't invite me to anything else.
Yeah, I think for a virtual conference, giving a talk on that, like, it feels more like something you should get paid to do, because there's absolutely no other benefit to you. Like for me, going to, I mean, I guess you can get into the conference yourself, so you get the talks, but I mean that's part of it. Like speaking at the couple conference I spoke at, part of it was to get into the conference, to see the, like, to reduce the cost that to myself to actually, get into the conference and do the to do the networking and all that kind of stuff, because it's really expensive otherwise, right?
Well, if you're the one paying for it, yeah.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I think they paid for the hotel and the conference itself, and all I had to do was pay for travel both times that I spoke. So, which to me was a deal. Like, I'll pay to go to, I'll pay to drive to Ohio or Kansas or wherever, if it means I get to basically get pretty much a free ride into a conference, and all I have to do is share my whatever I've learned. So
Yeah, the thing is,
words this morning,
when you go to like conferences, or when you did go, like whether it's local or regional, I find myself like the last one I went to was Tampa Code Camp, and I gave like 2 talks there, and I think I attended like 2 sessions where I just sat in, but I didn't have interest in anything really. Like, so the majority of the time I was just in the lobby, just hanging out. Um, are you able to relate where, like, when you're like beginner, like it's like a dessert menu, and oh, I don't know what to choose, right? And you just book yourself to completion. But then once you start getting more like, I'll just say advanced, it may sound arrogant, but whatever. Um, there's nothing that really I'm interested in, or like, yeah, I already know the gist of that. Know the gist of that. Like, is it the same for you, or are you active in sitting in?
No, yes and no. So the first conference I ever went to, an attendee, was like in 2012, was the Visual Studio Live, or VS Live, and that one I remember because I was relatively new. And you're right, it was like, look at all of these things I can look at. Oh, there's so many options. The last 2 I went to, like, I realized going to anything .NET related pretty quickly that it was definitely like I already knew all of the material. Like I went to one functional programming in C#, and I had they were doing the exercise was poker. They were trying to do like a poker game using
That sounds
functional.
hard.
Well, the funny thing is I had literally done that exact exercise myself, like that previous summer or whatever. So, like I didn't get anything from it. So what I found is that it only really pays to go to the ones where I'm like, I have absolutely no idea what this is, or I've heard of this, but I've never looked it up, or I only know the 5-minute elevator speech. I don't know anything about the specifics, or so anything I'm truly a beginner at, then it's kind of good to get a lay of the land. Like there's some cool ones. I went to one on a guy was showing uses for like a genetic algorithm. That was really cool. Like he had a genetic algorithm approximate a picture of some cartoon, and then he used it to do like a meal planning thing. And he kind of explained the basics of it, and that was really cool. I think I went to one on Rust, some on Elm, but yeah, I don't remember much other talks that I went to that really stuck with me. I went to one, somewhere I'm like, oh, this should be good. Oh, there was one that one of the guys gave about like explaining the different kinds of copyright and trademark and all that. The guy's I think he's one of the guys that runs KCDC, but he's a lawyer,
Okay.
also a developer. So he was explaining the different kinds of protected, protections for property, IP, intellectual property stuff. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, anything that's outside of the bounds of anything just normal development or learning a framework, those talks are like fun to go to. But yeah, the rest of it, it's like you're not learning a whole lot new. Maybe at like one of the full day long workshop type things.
Yeah.
Like I went to one the first time I went with Billy Hollis was giving one on UX, and that one I remember being very just blown away by. So like I think it's where I first heard of Gestalt principles and just various just statistics about things like I don't know, yeah. And that's important for us to think about those kinds of things. So
when I went to NDC London, like my main motivation was to meet Mark Seaman and Scott Blashen, and because I wanted to learn F#. I had read books, but I really didn't know how to put things together, and so I was interested in the workshops part, and so like that was my motivation, is meeting people, getting my name out, and actually writing code with them hovering over me, telling me what I'm doing wrong. And for a virtual conference, unless I represent a small percentage of people that are motivated to pay money to do that, which I don't think I am, but maybe it's pay my own money, and maybe like a virtual conference is fine because maybe the majority of the people attending, well, their employers pay for it, and so it's whatever.
Yeah, it is different when you've got skin in the game for it. Like, I definitely care more about it if I'm paying out of my own pocket for things versus having the company pay to go. So
That's pretty much it.
yep.
Plan on I'll get this validation thing working, where it actually will validate a card number, a bank card number, based on the specs for Visa, MasterCard, Discover, whatever else, American Express. Uh, that should be enough. Yeah, I got to get the routing on there. So it doesn't plot the routing lines on the map when they're awaiting their delivery.
Sure.
I'll get that on there. And then next week or a couple weeks from now, I'll return back to the Courier app and have transaction history for the Courier app so they can look at that stuff and figure out how to do a deposit on their account or on their bank card. Yeah. It's not that I lost motivation. It's just my life has changed. So I'm trying to, I'm literally trying to make time to get this thing done. I'm interested in it.
I know.
It's just,
I know exactly what you mean. So you don't need to explain.
yeah, because I know I haven't really. It doesn't seem like I've done much. It's whenever I return back to coding after like 4 or 5 days of not doing anything with the code that I've been working on, I then spend like the first hour trying to figure out where I was at the last time I touched it, and then I deal with stupid UI or UX bugs that I didn't even plan for, and that ends up consuming a lot of. I don't want to be a UI developer anymore, man. I'm sick and tired of fighting the framework. I feel like life would be so much easier if I was on the server.
Yeah, it definitely is. I like working with UX designer people and actually doing some of the front end stuff, as long as it's all like one. I don't like one-off little updates, but I like seeing something come together in a UI. But that's about it. You could follow the advice of, oh gosh, I think it was Nate Taylor gave me this, is if you want to pick it up where you left off, just leave a failing unit test when you're done. So get to a point where you've got to write a unit test and then leave it failing. Because when you come back, you'll kick off the unit test and be like, oh yeah, this is what I was doing. And two, that I think there's actually like a proven psychological effect where if you leave something unfinished or in a state where you have to do it, your brain doesn't let go of it like it does if you actually come to some sort of resolution on it.
Yeah, but having issues with OCD, I'm not sure if that's the healthiest thing for me.
Yeah, you're trying to sleep at night thinking about that unit test, like, oh shit, what's the deal?
I usually at work, like, because the thing is, like, for this passion project, I got hella unit tests, but it's more for like TDD. Like, I don't run them, so I'm sure, like, even though the stuff compiles, I wouldn't be surprised if like a certain percentage of my unit tests just fail, even though I know that my code is right. And, well, your unit test should pass then. But I know, but
yeah, well then go delete them.
Yeah. I usually just when I'm done for the day, but there was something that was somewhat complicated that I was in the middle of, but my brain stopped working, and it's like, I'm done. Then I'll just type in to do, but I won't comment it out. I'll put a to do and then a description, and it just won't compile because of that. And then I'll just come back to it.
Well, compilation is the first unit test, right? So.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Dang. So should I quit today? What do you think? Not quit, but put in my notice.
Do you have money in the bank?
Yeah. Got money in the bank.
If one of your kids goes to the emergency room financially, would you be able to? Would it be an issue if the bill was $5,000?
No. No,
Would you catch hell from your wife?
no, I don't think so.
Then, if you really feel like you're financially comfortable, and if life happens to hit you within the next 3 weeks, and it may be like $5,000 or whatever, and you're still financially stable, and you won't worry for like the next, I would say, 4 months, then I would say if it's really preserving you having a peace of mind and you could focus on healthier things in life, like being optimistic about the future, then I would say execute. Or it could be an opportunity where you put in your 2 weeks, and then finally they have a serious discussion about if they value you, what really motivates you, and what can they do to keep you there,
Yeah.
and with seriousness, like this is no joke, or else I'm going to leave. Like don't appease me for the next like 4 weeks and then return me back to my misery. So it could be a trigger or a catalyst for something new at your job potentially. Sounds like it probably won't be, since you know that
Well,
culture or anything.
yeah, I mean, but and maybe this was a mistake. I kind of, I told them at the beginning of the summer that, hey, I was going to look at probably taking off uh, at some point, moving on, because I am a contract, so I didn't feel like that wasn't really, it didn't feel like too abnormal to be like, hey, I'm going to start looking for a different contract or something. And since then I've had probably 2 or 3 discussions, like how can we, keep you around or whatever. And, oh yeah, we're going to we'll go look at doing this, or I'll come up with some ideas and get back to you. And I haven't got anything. I'm just kind of still sitting in the doldrums where I'm at. So, but I think that's just the place where the project's in. They're just about ready to finally deliver the thing. So there's a lot going on. It's just there's not a lot of development going on, and so I'm literally I'm sitting here every day like, what do I do? And I have some work items, but if I
Yeah,
finish them, then it's just going to be, which I could. The thing is, I can finish them within a few hours probably. But as soon as
yeah.
I finish them, then it becomes the same question.
I,
So
I've done that before, where because the way that I'm wired, I actually care a lot. Like my attitude changes. I I get I don't even know what's the right term. Like I have severe mood swings when I feel like I didn't accomplish anything for the day. Like I do. Like I take work personal. Like and
mhm.
so there's been times where I've literally quit several jobs because I was sitting on my hands for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and I just felt miserable. Like if I'm going to be spending a significant part of my life to you instead of me playing Xbox or traveling the world, like I want to feel good doing it. And like I was just some people, oh, you can work on your passion project. No, as soon as I start working on something and they find out, like that's not going to go over well, right? So I just yeah, there's been several times where I just quit because to me it was a red flag that they don't have anything planned for me. I'm tired of coming into work and I'm literally spending energy trying to find something to keep myself occupied. And it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of their time.
Yeah,
And, you know, yeah, so I've done it before only because I just get annoyed. My attitude changes. I get cranky because it's like I want to feel productive. And
yeah,
like, and that's the hardest thing is people always remember you when you leave, not when you come in, right? And so you could be a rock star when you come in, and for let's say the first like 6 months, you just value, 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 value. You just deliver, 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 right? You answer people's questions. You get people unstuck. What people couldn't solve in several days, you find out
Yep.
what they've been working on. You solve it in like 30 seconds, right? But all that stuff goes away as soon as like either you're unhappy or you piss somebody off. And everything, all the miracles that you've done, everything that you did to walk on water, doesn't matter anymore. It's people remember you, and your reputation is based on how you left. It's not what you've done before something got changed, and you get demotivated. So that's the thing to be. I don't know if there's really anything you can do about it. Is like try to leave the same way you came in.
It's easy to leave to be the scapegoat too when you're not there to defend yourself. You know, because I think a lot of software developers, they keep lights on certain things, and then when you leave, if those lights go out, you're not there to fix it anymore. Then it's, God damn it, why didn't this person? Or if you have something left that's half finished, and then they're like, oh, this is half finished, and they judge you by that half finished thing instead of all the other stuff you did before. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that as people have left, and I had that like response as I've gone away from jobs, at least at the one employer anyways. Like I went on canoe trips with some of these guys, and they're like, oh, everything was fine until this thing you worked on, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, that was like a R&D type thing, right? And it was proving that it could work, and nobody picked it up for 2 years, and then something broke on it, and like I made miracles happen with that. Like not miracles, but or you guys are still like, that was supposed to be deleted like immediately after after you finished the deployment. It wasn't supposed to be a long-term component that sticks around for 2 years. So, but it's like, that's what you remember. When something you wrote goes wrong and they're not here to ask you about it, then they get mad at you.
You write it, you own it. Yeah. It's always proof of concept. That's what they say, but it's not reality.
So
it's never been reality for me. Everything that was like proof of concept always was like iterated on, and it was never throwaway.
Yeah.
So, man, that's the other thing that annoys me is I'll probably get fired for saying this, but when you're given a deadline and like you take it seriously as a deadline, but then when you start hitting barriers or having impediments, to other people, it's not treated as a deadline. Like, that part annoys me. Like, so you're making hella progress, but you hit a stumbling block because you have a dependency on something that's outside of your control. And like, the business doesn't really care anymore, right? But then they get a phone call from their client a week later, and then now they're all over you. It's like, well, hold on. I asked you, like, I can't get past this part. I reported this 3 different times during stand-up. Like, this is outside my control. And then all of a sudden, once they resolve it, now they want you to work like hella overtime to get it done because now it's like past due. And it's like, well, that's the part I hate. I'm kind of going through that right now. So,
dang.
Well, it's 8:30, so I guess we'll close this. But I'll talk to you offline real fast.
Okay.
I'm ending the broadcast.